Welcome back to Timo's Dinky Detailing. Today I'm going to be doing a Hot Wheel Porsche 944. It's a 89 Porsche, and this is for a challenge by Andrew of Maple Leaf Restorations. And I found myself a Porsche at the local dollar store, and it's a beautiful car. I was supposed to put it on the turntable, but I forgot. This is cool. Somebody at Hot Wheels is trolling doctors because that's, I guess, who buys these cars is doctors. So there's a stethoscope in the back. So this is very nicely decorated with the headlights and tail lights and beautiful paint job. Very simple model. So to take it off, there's just the one rivet, and I take it off. I've got some good quality drill bits. This is a center pointed drill bit, and it takes off this rivet just beautifully. So the rivet's off, and to get the thing off, I'll get a screwdriver and try and pry it from somewhere. I found a spot, and out it pops. And then the back is held on with that little hook style. So that goes in nice and easy. And inside we've got the seats and the window. Nothing has to be done with these. Everything is brand new. So it's just going to get a custom paint job. So it's beautiful, beautiful model with beautiful metallic gold paint. It's really a gorgeous toy. So first thing I got to do is strip the paint off. Hot Wheels, I've never worked with the Hot Wheel before, and they've got some special kind of serious paint that I go on with the caustic soda and the boiling water, and nothing happens. A little bit more caustic soda, and nothing happens. So I left it out there for a while, and most of the paint finally came off. There's bits there on the rear fenders. So those are going to come off with the wire wheel. So here in the drill press I've got the big wire wheel. I'm going to have to find a better camera angle for doing this. Mostly you're just looking at my arm with my hoodie sleeve. But anyway, I use the wire wheel to polish it up. You'd be surprised. You get your finger on that wire wheel, and it doesn't hurt. It feels soft. It's pretty cool. Yet it still takes off that excess paint, and it polishes the casting up very nicely. So there you have it, and it's very quick and very easy. And it's not even that noisy. My drill press is very quiet, so I can do that when somebody's sleeping upstairs. So on goes the primer. This is the Tamiya white fine surface primer, which is an excellent quality primer, especially for a tiny model like a Hot Wheel or a Matchbox car, because it doesn't hide all the detail. And I actually put 2 coats of it on, and straight onto the base of primer I'm going to be putting decals. Now these I got the image off of the internet. It's actually a picture of the side of a zebra, and so what I did was I mirrored it so that I could have a left and right side of the zebra on the car. So I'm obviously going to be putting zebra stripes on this car. I don't know why I thought of this, and I was trying to come up with some kind of an interesting design for this car and for this challenge. And I thought, what's the last thing anybody wants to do with a Porsche? Well, the last thing they're going to do is take it on a safari in Africa. So I decided that somebody's going to want to take it out there. For one thing, it's a good vehicle for keeping up with some of the fast animals that you find on the African savanna. So it makes logical sense to me that some doctor is going to want to have a Porsche to go to Africa and keep up with the gazelles and the cheetahs and stuff. So I've outlined, I cut out paper patterns, and you can see those patterns, and then I've outlined them onto the water slide decal material where I printed this pattern onto. I have other videos where I show the process of creating one of these water slide patterns. And there you can see there's a backing paper because I tape a piece of the water slide material onto the paper, so I'm not using an entire sheet. I'm just using enough of a sheet to print my pattern. Usually everything is smaller than a full sheet, so I can save a lot of money by doing that. So I just tape it onto the print, so when I'm cutting it out, there's another layer underneath of the plain paper. So there I've got my shapes cut out, and those are going to fit on there nicely. Now there's a few imperfections, so I go with the 3200 micro mesh sanding paper and take off the imperfections. I'm putting these water slide decals straight onto the primer. The primer it's a beautiful surface, and I don't need to go in and make it shiny first because these decals work very, very well onto the matte surface of the primer. And I've done it before, and I was very happy with it, and it's a little bit better for putting the decals on. So now I've brought out my little cardboard detailing thing. It's not really good for doing it. This is my first Hot Wheel, so I don't really have any tools or jigs or anything for working with such a tiny model. So this was my idea. It's not working out really well. I got the Mr. Softer, and that's so that when I put the decal on, it will dissolve that decal and let it conform to the shape of the body a little bit better. And I also, you can see I cut that side off. I cut the rear fender parts off, and it's not a difficult choice to make because it's easy to line up those stripes because there's white gaps in between. So I cut off a bit of the white, and then I can just take my fender pieces and put them onto the fender on a separate step. And it's very difficult to try and get that long, huge decal to fit over the contours of the side, and this makes it much, much simpler. And it actually worked out really, really well. I was surprised at how fast I was able to get these decals in place, and it worked out pretty much flawlessly. You can see there's bubbles in the water. I put soap in the water, and this gives you water that will actually stick to the model before you put the decal on, and then you have a prayer of moving the decal after putting it on. In this case, I really had to be careful because they're all large decals and they don't want to move once you've put it on. So I made an effort to get it on in the right position to start with because I didn't really want to have to move. If you have to move it too much, it's going to damage the decal. So this is the decal for the hood or the bonnet, and you can see there's a little hook on the one side. I was gonna have that because that's actually on the front fender, and I was gonna have that on both sides, and by accident I cut off the piece and lost it, so I couldn't even put that little segment. In the end, when you watch me putting this on, I try to get that little piece to conform to the fender, not on the hood, and actually it's impossible. The shape was just not correct, and because of the contours of the body, I couldn't get that little corner to sit properly. So I wound up cutting that off camera, and I'd already lost the one on the other side. So I left the whole headlight assembly in the front portion without any stripes. And that works okay because it's balanced by the rear spoiler. I didn't put any stripes on the rear spoiler either, so it kind of balances the look. So this piece goes onto the roof. That's interesting. This one has a sunroof. It just has the outline for the sunroof. And I put this decal in, and on the doors there's outline for the doors. And on the roof I didn't put any of the Mr. Softer. So you would think that it's not going to conform to the model, but in fact at the end the decal conformed to the outline of the sunroof, which surprised me. Anyway, it's not really important, but it's kind of an interesting detail. So again, I'm having to take a bit of extra trouble to make sure that the decal goes on in the right position first time, because once these go on, they're really not thrilled with moving. So I take a little bit extra care in lining them up. And this is a tiny model. I'm used to working with the Dinky Toys, which are a fair bit bigger. So it's a bit of a challenge to work on these. And I had a hard time with these lights. The front wasn't so bad. But on the back, I forgot where the different colors went. And the very first one, I got it wrong. And in the end, it's all wrong. But when I realized that because I went by memory, I should have gone back, look at the video, and which lights are yellow, which ones are red, and which ones are silver backup lights. And I botched it completely. But anyway, I'm pointing it out because I don't want you to think I'm perfect or anything. And I have to say that Porsche designed those tail lights much better than the way I designed them. So good for them. So I'm not used to detailing such a tiny model, and I don't think I did a great job, but it's gonna have to do. And then I thought, okay, nobody can see the interior. The windshield and windows are tinted. It's a very dark piece of plastic. But if you look really carefully, I wanted to have some zebra stripes on the upholstery. So I'm using a line painting brush that's used by the ladies who paint fingernails. And this is for making lines, and I really like these brushes, and I thought, you know what, I want to try and paint some lines. And this is really tiny, and I don't think I did a really great job, but it's not bad because these brushes are so good. It kind of makes it a little bit easier than if you'd used a different kind of brush. So actually I'm pretty happy with the way these stripes worked out. Of course, you'd have to look pretty close to see that there's anything at all painted on the inside. Now, I put the body onto the chassis with the wheels, and of course this one has black mags, which is nice and fashionable, but it didn't look right with all the stripes on the car. So by coloring in the wheels, it put stripes on the wheels, so it kind of matched a little bit better. Now this had a beautiful decal for the little shield, the Porsche shield. So I put this in the computer and I shrunk the thing down, and it's just some pixels, but the original one you really couldn't see the shield, but it gave you the impression it was there. So I wanted to put the shield back on the front of the Porsche. And actually I think it wound up looking pretty good. So on the back, this is the little thing that locks the base onto the body, and I wanted to put a license plate on here. And so my typical way is to make a white background and then put a black framed number plate on there. And so that's what I did. I painted it instead of using decal material to make that white background, because this is a transparent decal. And then the edges, I overpainted the white, so I didn't show it here, but I touched it up with a Sharpie marker so that there wouldn't be any excess white outside of the number plate. So here I'm going over the decals have dried, and of course it's primer, so it's flat, so I go over it with the Mr. Hobby clear coat. And I showed just one coat here, but I actually put a second coat on, bring it up nice and shiny and glossy. So here's all my parts, and it's pretty simple. Nothing had to be restored. It's just a matter of putting a new custom look to it, and then put it back together, and it locks on the back, and then snap it in place. And I didn't drill for a screw. This is going to go to some child for free, so I decided to close it up using a bit of 5-minute epoxy glue, so the child wouldn't be able to conveniently take it apart again. So there we have it. In honor of Andrew's website, I roll it across the table. So there's where we started. This is what it looked like. I didn't put it on the turntable. I forgot to do it the first time. I forgot to do it. And beautiful decoration on this thing. I didn't get it as good as the factory did. So let's see what it looks like now. So now we've got it. It's ready for Daktari. We're going to go to Africa, and we're going to take it out on the savannah. And inside you can see the upholstery has the zebra stripes on it as well. So here we are out on the savannah. There's some giraffes, and we're taking a group around to see. And there's a zebra looking. Ooh, who's that? Never seen that guy before. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Timo's Dinky Detailing. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. And yeah, these things roll a lot easier than a dinky toy. So until next time, be seeing you.